Today, we're diving into one of the most disturbing and controversial theories in modern true crime. We're going to look at the evidence behind a whole string of deaths that police have labeled as accidents, but that some investigators believe is actually the work of a huge, organized network of killers. So, to really get your head around this, just try to put yourself in their shoes for a second. Imagine you're leaving a party. Maybe you've had a few drinks, your head's spinning, and the city streets you know so well suddenly just feel off, alien. You're a top student, a star athlete. You have your entire life in front of you. It's a terrifying thought, right? And for some, it might have been the very last one they ever had. See, this isn't about just one isolated tragic event. It's part of a much bigger, much more chilling pattern that has left families and some investigators asking questions that the official reports just can't seem to answer. All across the United States, this horrifying pattern keeps popping up. Young, athletic men disappear after a night out with friends, only to be found drowned days or even weeks later. And time after time, the authorities rule these deaths as tragic but accidental drownings. The problem is, the details just don't add up. So let's start connecting the dots. Let's look at the actual evidence that ties these seemingly separate tragedies together. Evidence that flat out contradicts the official story.
Our really central case here is that of Dakota James. Now, this guy was a seriously good athlete, a swimmer on his university's team, literally the last person you would ever expect to accidentally drown. But after he vanished, his body was eventually found, and the police pretty quickly closed the case. Accidental drowning. But his parents, they knew something was deeply, deeply wrong.
And this is where the official story just completely falls apart. His family went and hired their own independent pathologist, and what they found was horrifying. There were ligature marks on Dakota's neck, clear signs that he had struggled against some kind of rope. And here's the real kicker. The pathologist concluded it was physically impossible for his body to have been in that water for the full 40 days he was missing. So, where was he being held all that time?
And Dakota's case, it isn't a one-off. Not at all. Take William Hurley, another young man found in a river, this time in Boston. He had blunt force trauma to his head, his eye socket, and his leg. And here is the crucial link. In both Dakota's and William's systems, the quote-unquote date rape drug, GHB, was found. This is not a coincidence, it's a signature.
And the scale of this is just staggering. We're talking about around 45 similar cases, stretching across cities and states like Minnesota and Wisconsin. And at so many of these locations, investigators found the exact same haunting calling card spray-painted nearby, a single smiley face. So you have the graffiti, a very specific victim profile, and all this evidence of foul play. It all starts to point towards the core of this whole theory, that this isn't the work of just one person, but a sophisticated, hidden, and very deadly operation.
And this right here is the smiley face killer theory. It was developed by two former NYPD detectives who were convinced that these aren't accidents at all. They argue these are murders carried out by a highly organized, multi-city network of killers who plan everything on the dark web.
Okay, so this is absolutely crucial. You have to forget everything you think you know about the typical lone wolf serial killer. This theory suggests something way more complex, and honestly, way more terrifying. Not one killer, but coordinated cells, maybe a dozen people each, operating all over the country and using the anonymity of the dark web to communicate and plan. And the method they supposedly use is just cold and calculated. It all starts with surveillance, watching and identifying a target. Then, a whole bio on the student is shared on the dark web. After that comes the abduction, often using drugs like GHB to make it easier. And finally, they stage the scene, making it look like just another tragic, accidental drowning.
But why? I mean, that's the big question, right? What could possibly motivate an operation this brutal and this sophisticated? Well, the investigators think the answer is one of humanity's oldest and darkest emotions.
You have to look at the victim profile. It's incredibly specific. These are not random attacks. The victims are almost always top students, star athletes, often from what are called the best families. Every single one of them was an individual with an incredibly bright future ahead. And according to the investigators, the motive is just pure, undistilled envy. This is their direct take on it. This is a case of the have-nots hunting the haves. The killers are allegedly targeting people who have everything going for them simply because they have it. And that brings us to what is maybe the most chilling part of this entire theory. This isn't a history lesson. This isn't some cold case from the past. According to the theory, this threat is very much still active.
So if this theory is correct, these cells are still out there. They're still active, still communicating on the dark web, and they're still watching, just waiting for the next high achiever to walk home alone after a night out.
So it leaves us with this deeply unsettling question. While law enforcement, for the most part, dismisses this whole theory, the strange patterns just keep happening. And if the investigators who spent their lives on this are right, who are they watching right now?